Documenting one of these jobs on a TV install on a brick wall. Okay, and what I've got is I've got the first screw settling in. There's a lot of people that want to use those little plastic expansion things on these, and they a lot of times aren't going to hold very well in brick. And when you go to drill the brick in the mortar, it's relatively brittle. Drilling brick in an installed thing like this, if you crack or screw up the brick, then it's really, it's kind of a permanent fuck up. So I personally don't drill the brick. I could, but I don't. I use one of these DeWalt SDS impact drills, and I get into the mortar. The thing about drilling into the mortar is it's not as strong as a brick. So what do? Well, I use these blue anchor screws. And then Spax just came out with some, because what happens is these Tapcon screws are coated with a kind of a heat activated glue, and so they're kind of a rubbery feeling screw, and when it's coated with that stuff, it kind of activates it when you screw it in, and it's supposed to grab into the masonry. In reality, it doesn't always work that way. So what I do is I had been coating the screws with liquid nails. Now what happened is this cylinder popped as I was trying to pump it out the front, so I'm just dipping them in there, and it's just a reality. Clients pay enough on these installations that if I ruin a tube of glue on every installation, it's still, it's just part of the cost of doing business. And so what happens is I coat the screw with the glue, and I put it in. Now, once everything cures, it wouldn't take very many screws to hold everything up. It just, I'm not going to stick around long enough for it to cure. So what I'm doing now is I'm getting these Spax screws, which are a little bit thicker than a common drywall screw. And this is, wood to wood, wood to masonry. We're going metal to masonry, but that's okay. That's what this thing will do. The threads on them are not super aggressive the way you'd have like on a straight wood screw, and that's because you have to have some other element to get it holding into the masonry. On this, it's that liquid nails glue. Now this whole thing is loose, but as things go on, I check it with a level and then hit it with the SDS drill. So with a magnetic level on the mount, and I've got a little fudge factor because the shaft of the screw is smaller than this hole, and this is not exactly a precision instrument. So we try to do some center holes here, try to make it where I'm not leaning on the bit, and get a hole. We're not trying to go super deep. I'm not trying to get into any gas lines or anything that would be associated with that fireplace. I grab a screw out of the box here, and we put a washer on there, right? Because the screw head's not quite, a real good grab onto that. And then over here, you can see this. We just get that screw spooged into a bunch of this liquid nails here. And then what's going to happen when I screw this in is that's going to distribute a lot of that liquid nails around. Now as I do this, I'm double and triple checking the level on everything. And it would be nice if this draws down tight. It's just not necessary. But if I get that little impact hit and I get some glue spooging around, then that's usually pretty good news. That means we've drawn down tight. And I'm going to do some screws here because I really want some tightness at the center, and then we'll pin the wings down. And as every stage goes, I'm keeping that level, I'm keeping an eye on it. This particular mount was provided by the company. I don't like these two piece. I really prefer the one piece like it's on the Harbor Freight mount that I show in some other videos. And our next segment will show this with several more screws in it, but it's basically this little process repeated to get it into our masonry. And awesome. Here we are after we let the glue set for a little bit. We put the TV up and level the TV. Now if the bricks aren't perfectly level, that's, you know, we can kind of fudge factor which side we do. But that's how the brick install goes, using the glue and the brick screws.